They were sitting in the pizza restaurant, the entire family dining out in quaint, conservative American style. It could have been any American city of a middling size. That's not important. Junior took a drink of cola, wiped his mouth on his shirt. The grandmother gummed her pizza. The grandfather leaned back, already having eaten a great deal. A cousin glumly munched a breadstick. Maybe she was concerned that she had put on so much weight. There was an entire nuclear family all seated at one table, in an otherwise empty pizza restaurant. The family ate. The cars whisked by in the settling gloom. The restaurant was bare except for one man and his child. They had a pizza in front of them, on the table. The little boy might have been 8 years old. His eyes were unhappy little moons of want. Ringed about with dark circles, a cloud overtook the sky, everything settled down to a blanket of shadows. The boy picked up a piece of pizza half-heartedly and chewed. The other family continued their enjoyment of the day. A peculiar chill crept into the air, a sort of sulfur whiff penetrated the still dank feder of pizza cheese and old tomato sauce. The smell was not delicious. One of the boys at the opposite table turned his head casually, glancing over at the sullen man and child. His food fell out of his mouth and into his lap. Decapitation ritual. It was a comic, grotesque moment, a frozen moment of slow motion in which everyone seated at the table opposite of the event fought to adjust themselves to the reality of what they had just seen. Eyes bulged, mouths fell open, spilling food, and there was a delayed scream and shouts. The bored young man behind the counter looked suddenly nervous, put his hands in front of him, exposing dirty, cracked knuckles. Should he intervene? It seemed as if he thought it would almost be rude. The man at the table opposite produced a buck knife. He leapt from his seat, slid in next to his presumable son, and looked down at him. The boy looked up with vacant, dark eyes that said, "We've been through this ritual before, haven't we?" The man ran his filthy fingers through the boy's scalp. Clumps of hair came off in his fingers. The boy smiled. The boy smiled wide. The boy's smile dripped raspberry-colored trickles of blood. The father cut the boy's head off, pulled it with a sucking plop from the scrawny neck, held it up like a trophy, cast it through the plate glass window of the booth, jumped out and ran down the street, screaming. The little body jerked convulsively. A mystery to modern medical science. It sprayed blood like a geyser. The family at the opposite table pushed themselves away from their pizza. They looked at each other with curious expressions. Shouldn't they be sick about this? They seemed uncertain. Later, the cops would come in and sniff around. The cold little body outlined in chalk where it fell in the pizza booth. Neck stump leaking out the busted window. Did you find that man? Did you find him? What if the son of a bitch does it to somebody else? Grandpa wandered around in minimal shocked outrage, pointing a quivering gray finger. The rest of the family went inside, noting the ominous calm of the day, which was darkling gray now. Alarms and sirens could not even be heard. Something seemed to be swallowing up the sounds of a city that had stopped instantly. The family members examined their clothing, their arms. They seemed to be covered in a fine mist of blood. How? They were sure they hadn't gotten any on them. Was blood blowing in the wind like an old tattered banner of yesteryear?